Ah, grandchildren, 2 of them. One human spawned, one pure foxkin mischief. My son Jack's boy, Rylan, inherited human stubbornness and the remarkable ability to trip over nothing. His sister Lyria got the fox cunning, a flair for drama, and ears that can detect gossip across light years. Right now, they were fighting over a grav cradle, each claiming ownership. "Let go, Rylan." Lyria shouted, her tail flicking. "Never! I found it first." Rylan barked back. I sighed from my observation perch. Humans and foxes, practically designed to drive an ancient dragon fox queen like me insane. Jack, ever the peacemaker, tried to intervene. "Share it. Compromise." Lyria shot him a look that could melt steel. "Father, have you met him?" she asked, pointing at Rylan, who was now using the grav cradle as a battering ram. I chuckled. Humans always try negotiation first. Foxkin children always escalate. A perfect recipe for disaster. Sure enough, Rylan toppled backward into a stack of crates. Lyria smirked. Lesson 1. Little ones. Never underestimate a fox's memory. To teach them survival skills, Jack decided to take them scavenging in Korath 9's harsh outback. "Oh no," I whispered to myself. "They'll live." But just barely. Lyria, with her sharp eyes, spotted signs of old foxkin trade routes. Rylan, meanwhile, tried to build a solar-powered catapult that mostly just launched his lunch. "This is science." He yelled. "This is chaos," Lyria corrected. Yes, they were learning the hard way. While wandering, they picked up a strange distress signal, one that shouldn't exist on this planet. "You do know this is dangerous, right?" Jack warned. "Danger makes life interesting," Lyria said, flicking her tail. Rylan, filled with human curiosity, insisted they investigate. I just shook my head. This was exactly the kind of trouble I'd been waiting for them to find. The signal led them to an abandoned mining station half buried in sand. Inside, lights flickered and strange tech hummed. Rylan wanted to charge in. Lyria wanted to observe. Lesson 2, dear children. Brains first, brawn second. Humans always forget this. Eventually, they worked together and freed a small, frightened robot entity. "This is our new responsibility," Lyria announced, already taking charge. "And probably the start of your very first real lesson," I added silently, quite amused. The little robot they rescued named itself Spark, and naturally, Spark had the personality of a particularly polite toaster. "Hello," it said in a tinny voice. "I require assistance." Rylan immediately wanted to tinker with it. Lyria wanted to assess threats. Ah, yes, the classic human reflex, fix before you think. The classic fox reflex, evaluate everything before you even blink. By the end of the day, Spark was functional, though slightly scorched. Rylan called it a success. Lyria called it barely. Jack insisted they practice more survival skills, which meant wandering into dangerous dunes with minimal supplies. "Stay together," he yelled, "or we get eaten." Lyria corrected, her ears twitching. Predictably, Rylan tripped over a sand ridge and tumbled into a dry crater. Lyria groaned, pulled him out, and Spark beeped warnings about terrain instability. Finally, it dawned on them. Without cooperation, neither would survive. Rylan had to listen, Lyria had to temper her impatience, and Spark, well, Spark was a very judgmental robot. I purred in satisfaction. Lesson 3. Children learn best when they're terrified. Sometimes That night, Spark detected more strange signals. The children, now reluctantly respectful of each other's ideas, decided to investigate. Rylan wanted to build a light cannon to see into the dunes. Lyria wanted to scout silently. Why not both? I suggested, invisibly perched on a ridge. Surprisingly, the compromise worked. They found an old relay station emitting the signals. Inside were schematics for a long-lost foxkin trade network, revealing the Outback was once a hub of galactic commerce. They looked at each other in awe. Finally, a shared sense of wonder instead of sibling rivalry. Of course, the station was booby-trapped. Nothing interesting comes without a little danger. Rylan panicked when a door slammed shut. Lyria froze at a suspicious floor panel. Pathetic, both of them. But together, they managed. Rylan focused his mind, and Lyria used her cunning to disable the traps, while Spark mostly just cheered. They learned something important. Fear is manageable when you trust each other. By dawn, they emerged from the station, exhausted, covered in dust, and beaming with pride. They had survived together. Finally, I thought, the beginnings of wisdom. Maybe they'll survive a full century, or at least the next 5 minutes without arguing. But the universe never lets young heroes play happily in the sand. A band of rogue scavengers, drawn by Spark's active systems, emerged from the dunes. "Run!" Rylan yelled, "or fight smartly." Lyria barked, her tail flicking like a whip. I rolled my eyes. Humans run, foxes strategize. When combined, they sometimes survive. Lyria quickly devised a plan. Rylan would create distractions while she snuck behind enemy lines. Rylan's first sonic flare almost set their own shelter ablaze, but surprisingly, it worked. The scavengers were stunned. Chaos sometimes counts as strategy. During the fight, one scavenger nearly cornered Rylan. His first instinct was to panic. But hearing his yelp, Lyria leaped from behind cover, knocking the attacker off balance with a flick of her tail. Breathing heavily, Rylan muttered, "I thought I was done for." "Bravery doesn't mean you don't feel fear," Lyria said, surprisingly wise for her age. "It means you act anyway." I purred quietly. Finally, a teachable moment. The standoff ended when Spark activated a self-defense protocol, disorienting the scavengers with flashing lights and blaring alarms until they fled. Rylan and Lyria collapsed into the sand victorious. "Did we?" "Just do that?" Rylan asked. "Yes, together," Lyria replied. That night, by a small campfire, Rylan finally admitted it. "I couldn't have done this without you." "Of course not," Lyria teased. "You'd have electrocuted yourself by now." Spark's analysis eventually led them to the ruins of an old foxkin outpost. "All this left behind?" Rylan said, his eyes wide. "Abandoned, but full of knowledge," Lyria replied, her tail twitching with excitement. Inside, they found a puzzle of lights. Only by working together could they solve it. Rylan tried brute force. Lyria analyzed the patterns. "Stop hitting it," she snapped. "Then tell me what to do," he yelled back. The classic human fox struggle. Eventually, they combined their methods, and a hidden door slid open, revealing a vault of ancient relics. Rylan immediately reached for a glowing crystal. "Stop, we have to consider the consequences," Lyria scolded. After careful thought, they took only what they could carry responsibly. Lesson learned: power requires responsibility. On their way out, a sudden sandstorm hit. Visibility dropped to 0. Rylan panicked, but Lyria grabbed his hand. "Hold on." she instructed. They navigated together, supporting each other through the fear, and finally emerged safe. Back at camp, Ryland's voice was soft. "I think I understand now," he said, "that we can't do everything alone. Working together makes even impossible things possible," I purred proudly. Finally, hard-earned wisdom. After weeks of adventure, they returned to their family. You survived without me?" Jack gasped. "Yes," Lyria said proudly. "And we didn't blow up half the dunes." That night, they shared their stories, their lessons of trust and courage. In the quiet dawn, the children sat atop a ridge, watching the twin suns of Korath 9. "Adventures aren't just about excitement," Ryland said. "They're about growing." Lyria nodded. "And we have each other. That's what matters most." They had changed. They returned to their lives, but the bickering was less frequent. Jack and their mother watched them practice their new skills, their faces full of pride. That's when I decided to make my presence known, descending in a swirl of silver fur. "Ah, my little mortals," I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "You survived, you learned lessons, and you didn't kill each other. A miracle, truly." Ryland nearly fainted. Lyria just rolled her eyes. Their mother smiled. "Your grandmother has a point. You've grown stronger." "And wiser." The children laughed, feeling the warmth of family and the weight of the lessons they'd learned. "Yes, children of my daughter, you are annoyingly competent. Now go and make the galaxy even more chaotic. And hopefully a little more educated. Thanks for watching our story. If you enjoyed the adventure, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tailies from across the galaxy. See you next time.